What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. I kind of misjudged the shipment date on the two fans that we're going to be swapping out in the KRX. So the car is going to be sitting there for a little bit longer until the fans show up, and then we'll move the KRX to the driveway so we can start diving into the cooling system. But we did get a couple other packages in the mail. One of it is for a ceiling cam turbo build we're doing. We're just waiting for the second part of it to show up so we can start diving into the D series stuff. The second package is an eBay 15-gallon fuel cell, the same fuel cell I run in all the all-wheel drive cars here on the channel, and it's right here on the floor. I think that's what we're going to be diving into today. We're going to be modifying that eBay fuel cell to work with an OEM fuel pump hanger to run an in-tank fuel pump. The silver sedan is not on the driveway, but I want to at least start getting this thing prepped and ready to go for when it does show back up on the driveway. We can have that ready to be installed into the trunk of that car. Remember to cut away from yourself, not toward yourself. eBay 15-gallon fuel cell. I got this in raw aluminum because we are going to be modifying it so we don't have to do a lot of preparation to be able to weld the aluminum. But if you're not going to modify it, you can get this in black, you can get this in blue, you can get this in red that I've seen, you can get it in full polish, but I want the raw just so that we don't have to clean it too much. You can still see the cleaning action on here. But 15-gallon fuel cell, the reason why I got 15 gallon is because you guys know me, I drive my car a long distance at a time, and 15 gallons would allow me to drive further without pumping too frequently. I have the same fuel cell in my blue all-wheel drive sedan, same fuel cell in my red all-wheel drive sedan. We also have the same fuel cell in the H2B CRX that's sitting in storage, and same fuel cell we're going to be running in the 88 sedan. So this thing comes with a plastic fill cap right here, and you have to like properly vent your fuel cell with a check valve. Why? Because when the pressure builds up, it flexes the aluminum and then it ends up cracking this. I've had that issue with my red all-wheel drive car, which then I upgraded to an aluminum unit, which you can ride off the rip. I just don't really like the plastic. It does come with a sending unit right here, but you got to get the correct gauge with the correct ohms to get it to read correctly. Inside the tank, it comes with an anti-slosh foam, which I do recommend you to take out, because if you're running E85 is going to deteriorate this thing right here, and it's going to clog up your filter, it's going to clog up your pumps. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. Once I take all these screws off right here, I'll remove that foam, and I actually do repurpose these foams right here. When I build the custom catch cans and stuff for all of my cars, I use that foam as the filter. Just cut it to fit or cut it to the size of your catch can like filter location, and you can use that as a filter for your catch can setup. So the eBay fuel cell right here, guys, all we're going to do today is we're going to be modifying the OEM sending unit to sit here, to put the pump where the sump sits right here, so that way it can pick up the fuel at the lowest point of the fuel cell. You guys will understand what I'm talking about as we go. But first and foremost, I got to figure out where my OEM fuel tank is at so I can get the fuel pump hanger out of it. And it used to sit on the floor right here, and I don't remember where I put it. Okay, oddly enough, it's not in the backyard. It's not in the garage. Oh, I know where it's at. It's in the trunk of this car. And there is my OEM fuel tank from the 88 sedan with all the chopped plugs on it. Interesting. So I just need some 10 mils right here, and I guess we'll just pull this guy out, and then this whole thing should pop off. Now there's no pump in the fuel tank because my buddy Eric came and took it for his EF hatch that he just bought recently, that the fuel pump took a dump. So he wanted an OEM unit, so he grabbed this one. But let's go ahead and take off these guys right here. I believe there's like nuts on the back side or a plate. I think it's a plate. It is a plate. I might reuse this. I don't remember how I did it in the blue car, but we'll figure it out here in a minute. We will definitely clean this fuel cell before we run gas through it, because taking this thing out, you can see all these little bits and pieces came off with it, right? So I'm very surprised that this thing is as small as it is, because normally, from my experience, it comes with like blocks of these, like 4 of them tied together to kind of like fill it to the top to really prevent that anti-slosh. Get my flashlight right here, show you guys all the other ones that I've pulled out before. They're all just sitting up here. You guys can see them right there, more right there, more right there. All the anti-slosh that gets deteriorated when you run E85, so we'll keep that up there with those. Now, as I mentioned, this eBay fuel cell comes with a sump in the back right here, right, the lowest point, and this obviously can be ran with an external fuel pump, which is what I had in the red all-wheel drive CRX. And I want to keep it in tank because I wanted to be quiet inside the car. And if you look on the inside, that's the sump right there. This is where I want the filter to sit from the fuel pump, so we definitely have to modify this right here to extend all the way down into that sump. So if you kind of look at it, right, it already angles that way, and if I put it right here, it doesn't actually reach the bottom of the tank. It's still off about 3 inches or so. So we have to extend the bracket right here, the holder for the fuel pump, to go further down into the sump. And we're gonna have to set up a fuel pump to kind of see where the filter lands. And if you guys don't remember, the homie Eric from Mock Films came through and gave me a brand new Walbro 450, which is this guy right here, and this is what is currently in the 88 sedan. So this is just a mock-up, and then when we drop the tank from the 88 sedan, we'll take the other sending unit to put it back into this car, because we're going to be using that fuel tank for this car since it's carb and we're going to go EFI. We're also going to take the fuel pump from that one and throw it in here as well too. But for right now, just to mock this one up, I'm going to go ahead and build this fuel pump and see where that filter lands. This thing already has a built-in clip right here, so I guess once we put this filter on, it's going to be on there. All right, I just felt that click on there. There's our filter. We're literally going to modify this fuel pump hanger right here on the side of the fuel cell, since I can't see inside once this sits into place. So really quickly, I want to get a measurement to get a rough number on how much I need to extend this holder to put the filter at the bottom of the tank. Rough number, we're sitting 4 1/4. And mind you, this is going to sit on top of a plate as well too, because this diameter of the top hat is smaller than the hole that's on the fuel cell. So probably going to give that like 1/4 inch, probably 4.5. So somewhere in the 4.5 is how much we're going to extend this. So this right here is a half cut of a 3-inch mild steel tubing, and I used the other half to patch up exhaust system before, but I found this in my bin because I don't have any flat stock, and this is going to work out just because 1 is thick enough, it doesn't flex. 2, this thing already has a curve on it, like the holder itself, it has a curve in it. So we're just gonna lob this right here. It doesn't matter where I cut this at right here, because it's gonna be extended 4.5 anyway. So I'm gonna cut this in half, and then we're gonna kind of form this into the curvature, and then measure out again 4.25, 4.5 to use this as the extension. And we're gonna do this one step at a time. Safety first. Not too shabby. If you guys look, almost a perfect curve, almost. So I'm gonna mark it out, and then once I make my cut 4.5, we'll smash it down a little bit with the hammer to kind of fit that contour a little bit better. Look at that fit. Almost perfect. Almost perfect. So we have the extension welded up right here all the way around, and with the fuel pump installed, the filter seems like it's going to be pointing upward, and it looks like only this part right here is going to be in the sump, which is okay because the bottom of the pump is right there where it's sucking. So I have the pump secured onto the hanger. I'm gonna see if it lands in the sump. Try to get you guys a look on it as well too, because it's gonna be a little hard, but let me get a look first. Yo, this is like perfectly in the sump. So at the bottom of the fuel cell before the sump, the pump is past that. So that means the entire filter is going to be submerged under fuel in the sump itself. Let me see if I can shove the camera down there just so you guys can see. Can you guys see that? It's like fully inside the sump. And it's gonna come up a little bit because we don't have the adapter plate on the top yet. So 1/4 of an inch or so, give or take. But I think that's perfect. If you guys haven't seen the video when I built the fuel cell for this car, let me give you guys a visual on the idea of what we're trying to do here. eBay 15-gallon fuel cell, right? We have the adapter plate, factory hanger. Right here we have a bulkhead fitting for upgraded wires to the fuel pump. We have an adapter to convert the line into a -8, and then we are using the factory return, which is converted to a -6. And then on the side, modified right here to use the fill neck, the factory fill neck, so I can pump my gas from here instead of popping the trunk all the time, which is why I got the raw fuel cell. But anyways, this is what we're trying to build right now. If I'm being completely honest, guys, I kind of messed up a little bit. So you guys saw I used a plasma cutter to cut out this adapter plate. We're not done with it yet. I got a little carried away. It was cutting so nicely on the outside. I cut the center out with the plasma cutter and I didn't follow the line, right? So I undercutted it. And on top of that, it created a bunch of slag on the bottom side. Cut a little bit better this time. I did turn up the amps a little bit and I did turn up the air a little bit as well too. But the center is what took a lot of my time, on top of talking to the homie Slimeball for an hour and also talking to my neighbor as well too. The sun is already set. So this right here, I had to spend some time on the carbide right here with the drill and the belt sander to get the hole size that I'm looking for, because like I said, I undercutted it, so I had to like take a bunch of material off. You guys can see it all over the table right there. I wish I had the die grinder from Milwaukee, because it would have been a lot better and easier than that drill right there, but I'll get that eventually. But I had to spend some time to cut this hole out to fit the filter, the bottom of the fuel pump right here, so that we can slide it all the way through to this section and see if we needed to cut more or not. So let me show you guys really quickly. The hole fits the filter, the pump, the worm clamp, the wiring, the return tube, all the way to the top. And now it sits flush. The gasket is not on there. Now we can drill out all the holes, so we can secure this to the tank itself and then this to the adapter. This is the second piece to the single cam turbo kit, and these are the new fans for the KRX. Hopefully we'll tackle that tomorrow. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and assemble the adapter plate, gasket, and the fuel pump into the fuel cell, and hopefully the filter is gonna sit in the sump. Easiest way to tell: pull these caps off and see if the filter is sitting down there. So this plate right here has to go on specifically because these 6 holes right here in the center for the fuel pump hanger is specific, and it has to be in the right orientation to point the fuel pump filter straight into the sump. I already got a mark right there. Alrighty guys, OEM fuel pump hanger on the adapter, adapted into the 15-gallon fuel cell. Let's go ahead and pop these caps off and see if the filter is sitting where we need it to. Oh yeah, that's the filter barely touching the bottom of the fuel cell. You see on the other side here. Can you guys see that? Barely touching the bottom of the sump. That's freaking perfect. Perfect. So right now this thing is not fully tightened down because obviously the fuel pump needs all the wiring and everything. I'm going to clean this hat a little bit as well too, because it is pretty crusty, and the fuel cell still needs to be modified for the OEM fill neck that's going to go right here. So I need this to be cleared out so that way we can get all the burrs and stuff to be out of the fuel cell before we actually put it to use. We're going to be welding a, I believe, what did I do for that car? I don't know if it was a -10 or -8, one or the other. I'm gonna have to put a fitting right here, which is the overflow tube. So when you fill the gas and it goes up to the top and clicks out, the rest of the fuel is gonna drain back into the tank. That's how I did it on my blue car. So this is all loose for right now. I don't know if I have any fittings to go here or any bulkheads for wirings to come through, because on the blue car I have a bulkhead with two 10-gauge wire coming out of it, and I welded this one shut. And this tube here is just a tube adapter to convert it over to a -6, and then this one is an adapter that goes here that converts over to a -6 as well too. So let me see if I have anything. I'm not sure if I do or if I don't. Just know for myself so I can place an order for them if need to be. Let's see if this one fits. Okay, this one actually does. This one fits. What is this? This is 12 millimeter by 1.25, 90 mil to a -8. We're not going to be using this one because it's a -8. I need to order this 12 by 1.25 to -6 because we're going to be running -6 lines. That's good to know, but let's see what else I have in here. Very short, simple video, guys, with the modification to the eBay fuel cell to have it ready to go for the 88 sedan once it comes back to the driveway. What I want to do right now before I cap off this video, I want to pull out my single cam that has been buried back here since I did the swap on the EG about 2 years ago. So I want to pop the single cam out of here so we can put it up on the engine stand. The K20 that we got off Facebook Marketplace is not going to be torn down yet because I still need funds to buy the rings, the bearings, the seals, the pump, the whole thing to rebuild this back to factory spec. If you guys remember, I bought this as a short block, and if you guys also remembered, we windowed a K20 last year and the cylinder head didn't get touched at all. So the cylinder head I have right here, I'm going to be using on that K20A2 short block and make it a full rebuilt K20A2 long block. I do have another cylinder head right here, but this one is the matching to the other K20 block sitting down there, which I plan to probably do another piston rod setup later down the road. Not in a rush for it right now, but that head is matching to that one, so I want to leave it alone. And just got to dive into all of this to get the sim cam out, and this will also give me the opportunity to kind of organize that a little bit. So let's dive into that. Before I pull the K20 off, I want to put an oil pan on it because when I bought this, it was literally bare, just a rotating assembly. Okay, so this is the single cam that we're going to be throwing on the engine stand. This is a D15 B6, I believe. This is like a 9295 OBD1 B8, sorry, B8 OBD1 non-VTEC. I did a swap for a customer 2 years ago, and this engine apparently had no compression whatsoever. The entire cylinder head had been rebuilt, and it just didn't turn over, so we swapped in another fresh single cam into it, and he told me you can have this one. So it's been under the rack for quite some time, and the homie Gabe came through with this rebuilt D16 Z6 cylinder head. And what we're going to be doing later down the road, you guys may have seen a couple of months ago, we were able to pick up 2 single cam all-wheel drive Civic wagon transmissions, and I want to do a single cam all-wheel drive build once we figure out, like, internal wise what we're going to be using for the mini-me VTEC. Yes, I've contacted Hunter, and Hunter is actually pretty stumped as well too. Hunter also has a D15 B8 with a VTEC head, and he's trying to figure out which rod is the correct length for the B8 bottom end with the B8 crank to make sure that the piston don't come and touch the cylinder head. If you guys are single cam heads and you guys know what rods are gonna work with a D15B bottom end with the VTEC head, let me know. I want to do a Vitara setup and shoot for like 350 all-wheel drive single cam stuff later down the road. That's the plan. And right now I just got to figure out how I'm gonna get this sucker on here. I'm about to do something really stupid. Is it stupid if it works? Okay, so I have the 2 K20 stacked right here. The bottom one is the one we're going to be doing the OEM rebuild here soon, and this one is the one that used to be in the KRX before I went K24. I spun the bearing on this one. Crank's already gone. Once I find a crank for this one, again, I'm going to do a piston rod setup. This box right here is a Darton sleeve LS block. This was actually gifted to me from the homie Kenny out in the ATL, Georgia. This was a running long block, and I had to take it apart when it was in Florida, and me and Son shipped it to California fully disassembled. This thing needs a crank as well too, because I left the crank at S1, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. You know, hopefully later down the road I'll grow a pair of bigger balls to build a actual race car and, you know, utilize this Darton block. But for right now, it's gonna sit right there. Single cam is on the stand. I think I'm gonna stack the LS short block on here, which is this guy right here. This one was the Type R piston and rod LS VTEC with the built head. It was in the green CRX, and I sold the car. My buddy took the setup, put it into his hatch, thrashed it on Sonoma's track, starved the oil, and spun the bearing. So I went and got another crank, which is right there on the block, and I want to do a forge piston and rod setup. The maxpeedingrods rods, they're toasted, and I have 2 sets of LS rods, one with a small ARP bolt and the other one with a large ARP bolt. I want to attempt to build my first forged piston and rod block, because I've only rebuilt K and B series with cast pistons, and this is a little bit different. When you send this thing off to the machine shop, you got to get the P2W and everything specifically for those pistons. And I do have 81.5 Trums. These are 81 standard, so I can bore it over. I have 81.5 Trom pistons. I have 82 Wiseco's, 83 Wiseco's. I just got to go pick it up from my buddy who has my other RS machine short block, and that one's getting assembled right now. But when I get that short block back, I'll have the other pistons as well, and I'll probably send this block out with the 81.5 to get it all bore and honed out to do a turbo build short block later down the road. This right here is all the built VTEC head components. The heads right there. This is all the stuff that's going to go into the B20 short block that we're going to be doing later down the road for the JDM EF2. We're going to do a piston rod high comp setup with a fully built head and the block HSL cams right here. The head's already ported and everything. All the super tech stuff is right here in this box. And you know, once we get a B20 short block, we can start with the machining and everything. And actually my tuner is going to help me build this engine and degree the cam as well too, because the goal is like 220, 225, 230 on pump gas. That's the goal for the JDM EF2. And yeah, after finally pulling everything apart here, I have quite a lot of things I kind of sort of forgot about. This one right here, this is a B20Z that I got from the junkyard not too long ago. I rebuilt this thing top to bottom, 0 freaking miles. If you guys haven't seen that video, check it out. B20 rebuild, and this thing, literally I just threw it into CRX, turned it on for about 10 minutes, took the engine out. It's been covered up right here all these years later. This thing is ready to go. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but this thing is fresh. Even got the CRX harness on there, and you know, kind of forgot about this, honestly. But now looking at everything else, like there's pistons everywhere. There's like this is all the internal K20 stuff for the rebuilt head that's up here. The other K20 head, the box over here, there's more K20 pistons. These are the PRBs, high comp, but just a bunch of stuff. So I'm probably gonna throw that short block on here. If I have space, I'll put the VTEC head on top of that. If not, I'll make space for it. But right now, I just want to organize and put everything back into their new or old home location. All right, guys, so we spent like 2 hours cleaning the aisle on the back side of the shelf over there, and a little bit in the front side right here as well too. The aisle doesn't have a lot of stuff on the floor anymore, and for me to access anything on the shelf, I could just move the junkyard cart and I could walk through the aisle without tripping over everything. On the floor right here, we still have both my axles I pulled from the storage unit. I'm going to be taking these cups off right here, cleaning them all up, boots and straps and all. Then we're going to be transferring over to the extended shaft that we have right here, and this one is actually the short axle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one and the previous shaft that we cut off, which is this one right here, and we're going to extend a short axle as well, just so that we can have a extended long and an extended short for the wagon, and just kind of have them as backup. So those guys are on the floor, but everything else I clean them all up. The fuel cell is sitting right here for right now until the 88 sedan returns to the driveway, so we can build the bracketry in the trunk for the fuel cell to sit on, and then we can further modify the ends over here for the factory fuel neck, so we can pump gas through the gas cap instead of popping the trunk every single time. Single cam is on the stand, and I did find the turbo manifold in the junkyard cart over there. This is what we're going to be using for the turbo kit that we're going to be probably fabricating here soon. And just want to say quickly that the single cam turbo kit that I'm working on here soon is not the single cam turbo kit that I'm going to be using on this engine when we introduce the single cam stuff to the channel. This is actually for a friend that wanted to kind of enjoy his Civic a little bit more, just throwing a baby turbo kit on it. We're going to be eliminating the wastegate as well too, because the turbo that I got is internally gated, and when time comes, like I said, we're going to be building a different turbo kit for the single cam, but I guess we'll disclose a little bit more about that when time comes. I also want to say we're going to be working on the B series turbo kit here soon, and there's going to be some fun things to follow with that one. We'll talk more about it when I get to this. But as far as this video goes, just a quick little modification to the eBay 15-gallon fuel cell. You can literally go on eBay, type in the gallons you're looking for, then put fuel cell right after it. A whole bunch of them will pop up. I typically try to buy a fuel cell closest to me, and they're like $110 to $120. It's not that expensive. I know a lot of people are skeptical about the eBay fuel cell, but I've been running one for 9 years now. My red all-wheel drive CRX had a 15-gallon in it. The blue all-wheel drive sedan has the 15-gallon in it. The H2B CRX has a 15-gallon fuel cell in it, and I have not had any major issue with them. Only one time, I will admit, one time I had the fuel cell in the red CRX crack on the top welds because I capped off all the breather ports. I didn't run any check valve, and I did run a big fuel pump, and with the pressure building up in the tank, it eventually cracked the welds. But all I did was drain it, cleaned it, welded it, put it back in, and didn't have an issue with it since. So if you guys are on a budget like me, this is the simplest way to save on your fuel supply system. eBay fuel cell, modifying the factory fuel pump hanger into it to keep your, existing fuel pump that you're currently running in your car, or just buying a simple pump to put onto the factory hanger versus running an external pump and then running all the lines to the front. So I will show a little bit more on how I'm going to do the lines in the 88 sedan when the car returns back into the driveway. Same thing I did with the H2B CRX, where I adapt the lines from the top of the fuel cell to the factory hard lines, just so that I don't have to run it all the way to the front, and it'll be cheaper than buying a whole like 10-foot line kit, right? I hope this video helped you guys in a sense if you're doing something similar to this, but we're gonna wrap it up for this video. If you guys enjoyed today's progress on the fuel cell for the 88 sedan, be sure to leave a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stick around for more shenanigans here on the driveway, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next video. Peace.